It is World Series Day 6. Game 6 is tonight. Braves, Astros. Can the Braves finish this off? Will it be Braves in 6? Or will the Houston Astros force Game 7? A game that I don't think the Braves want anything to do with. If you're checking out the replay, make sure to hit that like if you're a Braves fan. If you want this thing done right now, tonight, Game 6, don't want anything to do with Game 7, hit that like. If you're an Astros fan and you think that Luis Garcia is going to get you to Game 7, hit that like. Let's get a like fest going. It's a great way to support the channel, and I appreciate you guys. We are doing this thing live. We are doing the Tuesday morning thing. We're doing it an hour earlier than we usually do, a little programming change, so I appreciate my viewers that are here with me live at the beginning as we sort of make a change today. But this is all about Game 6. We're going to preview this thing. We're going to take a look at the pitchers. We're going to take a look at Max Fried, Luis Garcia, what to watch for both sides, what you might want to worry about, what you need to do to win. All that. We'll take a look at the lineups. What should Dusty do? Should he stick with his lineup from Game 5? What should Snit do with his lineup? And Ozzie Albies, who has been kind of struggling and hurting them in that number 3 spot. Hasn't hurt them that bad because they're up 3-2, but certainly you're going to need more from him. So we're going to take a look at everything. William, welcome in. You have the Astros winning tonight and Braves winning tomorrow with Anderson. We'll see. I obviously got to think you don't want that, William, as a Braves fan. You don't want anything to do with the Game 7. You would like to have Brian Anderson's next start be next year. 2022 is the next time you want to see Ian Anderson, I would think. Hey, welcome in. You want this to do over. I was also the third like. Welcome in. Hit that like. Yes, hit that like. It's a great way to support the channel. We're going to dive into this thing. So we are 3-2. At the beginning of this thing, I picked Braves in 6. Would love for that to come through. If this goes to Game 7, I've said from the beginning as well, if it goes to Game 7, I think Houston wins. So let's see how this thing goes. We are going to have Max Fried going against Luis Garcia. Let's look at Max Fried. Let's dive right into this thing. No delays. Max Fried, regular season, was one of the Braves' best pitchers. You know, it was him, Anderson, and Morton with Soroka out. Smiley gave you some good stuff, but Max Fried was really the leader of this club, 14-7. He's going to be on the road. They're in Houston. He's a good pitcher on the road. Really don't see any big swings. You take a 3.14 ERA and a 1.08 ERA whip on the road. At home, his ERA is slightly better, 2.94. It's nothing that wild, though. It's pretty close. He's a steady pitcher on the road. In Game 2, he had a rough start. Gave up a run in the first inning, gave up 5 runs in the second inning, and ultimately the Braves were not able to bounce back from that. So you had a rough start from Max Fried in Game 2, but what you liked about that, what you took from that, if you're looking for positives, is that innings 3, 4, and 5, he got you through it, didn't allow any more runs, settled down. You hope that he gets that back together. One of the things that we noticed in Game 2 from Max Fried is that his slider was not moving like his slider had been all season long. So you didn't have that same kind of Max Fried action. If your slider's not working, that changes the approach for the hitters. They can see that it's not moving. It looks a little bit more like a fastball. That takes off your fastball. It makes that less effective. And if that's not working, then the curveball is not as effective. And his curveball just stunk in Game 2. So you got to get something better from Max Fried in Game 2 just with his stuff. And you'll see that. Everybody, I suggest, track him on Baseball Savant, okay? Watch that first inning on Baseball Savant. It will give you in real time the movement on his pitches, and you'll see, all right, this is the Max Fried that we had all year long, or this is Max Fried from Game 2. Watch out. What is his leash? Will Snit let him get into trouble? Try to work out of some things. We've seen his opposing batting average, and we've seen it in the postseason, is high when he's in a high leverage situation. So we want to watch that with Max Fried. Let me get to some of the comments here in the chat, because again, we are live for anybody who might be catching the replay of this. Be over. That's what you meant. I got you, Hayden. James D, why do you think if it goes to Game 7, the Astros win? I think the home team in a Game 7, especially a home team that has won the World Series, that has as much experience in the postseason, I think they have the advantage. I know Washington won in Houston 2019 Game 7. I understand that, but that is fuel. We have actually heard it. I think Will Smith talked about it, how it has been fuel to the fire, the fact that the Braves lost 3-1. You know, they had a 3-1 advantage over the Dodgers, and they lost that series. It has been fuel for them. Houston, it will be fuel for those guys that lost in 2019, that had a chance to win it and couldn't put it away at home. So that's why I think Houston has the advantage. AC Gonzalez, Max Fried locks in tonight and hands it off to the night shift for the win. The sideline, good morning, the sideline. Bobby Means, Atlanta wants no part of Houston in Game 7. Exactly, they got to get it done tonight. Hayden Fried's last 2 starts haven't been good, but I see him bouncing back tonight. Good pitchers pitch in clinching games. This is a big moment for Max Fried, and he definitely has to step up. One other sort of item to watch with Max Fried, we talk about the high leverage situations. Opposing hitters are hitting over 300 against him. You hate that. We'll talk about that for Luis Garcia. It's much better for Luis Garcia in those spots. But what you also got to watch out for with Max Fried is the righties. The righties are hitting him in this postseason. For his career, righties have always done a little better, which makes sense. A 235 and 248 split, lefties and righties. This year, 2021, he was actually doing a little bit better against righties. 233 was the opposing batting average. So he was doing better, but in the postseason, righties are hitting over 300 against him, and that's the majority of what he's going to see are righties. Now, he can get tough on Alvarez and Tucker and Brantley, but you worry about, every other batter for the Astros will be a righty hitter, and Dusty made the right change moving Correa up to the number 3 spot. So Max is going to have to do that. Times through the lineup, the third time through you're going to watch. Second time through, opposing hitters are at 209. The third time through, they're at 253. So I think you probably, in a game like this, you don't want to put him in a situation to lose, especially when you have such a good bullpen. We're going to talk about the bullpens in a minute. That 253 batting average the third time through, I don't think you want anything to do with that. I think he gets into a spot where they pick the spots, pick the matchups. If he is going out there and it's the third time through and it's a righty-lefty-righty, 1, 2, 3 to start the next inning, that might be it for Max Fried, depending on how he's pitching. But watch for a hook around that point. Let's talk about Luis Garcia, because Luis Garcia, his splits, his whole situation is really fascinating to take a look at. Luis Garcia, on the regular season, rookie pitcher, did really well. 11-8, 3.30 ERA, and you see how good he was at home. A 2.39 ERA, a 1.02 whip, really good. Game 3 was on the road. We've talked about how he is has a rough time on the road, and it happened again in the World Series. Now, he only gave up the 1 run, but he was in trouble the whole time. 3 hits, 4 walks, did strike out 6. Luis Garcia coming home, you could expect to see a big performance from Luis Garcia. Pitched really well at home in Game 6 of the ALCS, what ended up being the clinching game for the Astros. So we keep an eye on Luis Garcia and how well he pitches at home. If he comes out lights out, it could be more of the same the whole way through. Luis Garcia, what you have to watch with him is his first inning. First inning ERA is 5.14, so you want to jump him. William, I see you in the chat. Ozzy should move down to 6. We're going to talk about Ozzy. We got a slide. We got graphics for Ozzy that we're going to put up in just a minute, because we are going to discuss that. But Luis Garcia, you got to watch that first inning, a 5.14 ERA in the first. So if he gets through the first inning, that could be a good sign if you are a Houston fan looking for something good early on. Any good indications if he gets through the first without getting roughed up. This is what I find simply amazing about Luis Garcia. He struggles on the road, but it's not a pressure thing. It's got to be a comfort thing, because in high pressure situations during the regular season, and this is going to take another turn in 2 seconds, just wait. During the regular season, when runners were in scoring position, he held the opposing hitters to 185. And in high leverage situations, he held opposing hitters to 181. So in those high-pressure situations, and Game 6 is going to be a high-pressure situation, he's good. He has been good. Putting it back at home, everything is pointing towards a good Luis Garcia outing tonight. Now, here's where we take a hard left turn on that high-pressure thing. Luis Garcia in the postseason, with runners in scoring position, has an ERA of 27. He's given up 9 runs with runners in scoring position in the postseason. He gave up the grand slam, so there was one spot where he gave up almost half of his runs. So he has been giving up runs in those situations in the postseason. That's a smaller sample size. It's only, I think it's like a 3. It's like 3 for 9 or 3 for 12. 3 for 12. But he's giving up runs. So we got to watch that. You have to watch that. He's a situation, we talked about where could you see the hook from Max Fried. You can see a hook from Luis Garcia around pitch 75. All right, pitches 51 through 75. It's a 180 opposing batting average. It jumps up to 299 once you get to 70. It's that 76th pitch. So that's where you could see the hook for Luis Garcia. Hayden, I'm actually going to Truist Park tonight to watch the game because they're letting people in. Also going to do a vlog of the experience on the YouTube channel. Good, Hayden. Check that out. That should be a great experience. That'll be a lot of fun to be at. Let me pipe. I think Houston takes the whole series. See Luis tossing 4 to 5 strong innings and Max getting hit hard. Luis has yet to give up the long ball this series, which is surprising. AC Gonzalez-Fried had a rough start in Game 2, but seemed to correct whatever was wrong in the later innings. Tipping pitches, maybe. I was wondering that too, AC, about the whole tipping pitches thing with Fried, because there was talk of that in the NLCS, that his windup was a little bit faster when he was throwing a fastball. So that feels like a thing with Max Fried. Got to watch that. I think in that game it was more about the slider, and I think he realized that the slider was not as effective, and he adjusted around that. But Hayden, that could be fun. Good luck. Have a good time at that game. Anybody that's going to the game tonight, if you're in the Houston area, let me know if you're going to the game tonight. That's going to be just an amazing experience to be at Game 6, especially if you're Houston. You want to get this thing to Game 7. The only thing more amazing would be to be at Game 7. But tonight's a big one. So we talk about Luis Garcia. Again, he's good at home. He's good in high-pressure situations. For the most part, the longer track record is that he's better in high-pressure situations. You can see the hook around that pitch 75 mark for Max Fried. Whatever the pitch count is, I think you can see the hook around the third time through the lineup, especially if the next inning he's set up to face 2 righties because of how the righties have been hitting him. He looks for the bounce back. We're going to watch Max Fried's slider. How is that? And you can track that on Baseball Savant. That's going to be a big point for Max Fried. And if Max is getting into trouble, I think Snitker is going to approach this game as if it's Game 7. The only pitcher you won't see is Ian Anderson. They got to stay fresh for him. But it's interesting because in Game 5, the Astros were playing like their lives were on the line. The Braves, you really couldn't do that. You saw Jose Urquidy. You saw Urquidy in Game 5 for the Astros. He was supposed to be the Game 6 starter, but they needed Urquidy, so they blow Urquidy, then you have Urquidy in Game 7. Houston was able to play Game 5 like there was no tomorrow, because there wasn't. The Braves were not in that situation. I think the Braves can approach tonight, outside of Ian Anderson, as if there's no tomorrow, because you don't want to go to Game 7 on the road in that building against that team. So you've got to, if you're Atlanta, you empty the bullpen. If Max Fried is bases loaded in the first inning, pull him. All right? Everybody from the bullpen goes tonight. All right? And if you need to get 2 innings out of Will Smith, you do it. I think it's everybody, all hands on deck. Everybody needs to be prepared to go because you don't want to go to Game 7. You treat this game like it's a Game 7, except for Ian Anderson. That's the only guy you don't see because you need to have that backup. And then tomorrow, everybody in that bullpen understands we might need to go long tonight. We might need to give extra innings, and we need to be ready tomorrow too. This is adrenaline time for these teams. This is where you're running on adrenaline. It does not matter if you got a bad thumb, if you're Travis d'Arnaud. It does not matter if whatever. It does not matter. You are running on adrenaline. William, yes, he does. Has to look as it's Game 7. I'm with you on that. James D. Fried did not get hit hard in Game 2. A lot of shift beating, weak ground balls, and unlucky plays for the Braves. Max is fine. No, that's a good point. He didn't get crushed. It's not like they were hitting bombs off him. Remember, Houston, this whole series only has 2 home runs, but they were hitting him. I watching that game 2. They were laying off the curveballs for the most part because the curveballs, it was just a dead pitch. It was down. It was going out of the strike zone. You could see that it was not an effective pitch. The curveball was not effective. They were looking for the pitches inside. They were jumping on pitches inside. So their approach, they were stacking hits against Max Fried. Only 1 walk. Again, only 1 walk in that game. That's 3 walks all postseason for Max Fried. So he hasn't been walking batters. He wasn't giving up free passes. It was just 1 in 5 innings in game 2, but they were getting the hits. And they were putting it together and right. They were beating the shifts. If Atlanta loses tonight, it's Houston in 7 from Dan. I'm with you. I think that if Houston gets this thing to game 7, I said it from the beginning. My pick is Braves in 6. That's my pick. If this thing goes to game 7, I don't think the Braves win it. Dave, Braves have to win tonight. It is the Plouffe prophecy. I do think that they need to win tonight. It's Braves in 6. It's got to be Braves in 6. We've been saying that since I finally stumbled upon a pick, a week and a half ago. Let's get into this. So we're talking about the pitching. Let's stay with the pitching for a minute because the bullpens, I think, have been a major factor in this game, and I think you will agree with me that the bullpens have been a major factor of the series. They will be a major factor in this game as well, and there have been some arms that really you've been able to rely on. To the rescue, look at these pitchers from both sides in this World Series that have multiple appearances and have not allowed a run. And you can add at the bottom Jesse Chavez and Will Smith. They haven't allowed a run all postseason. But in this World Series, Phil Maton has been unbelievable. 4 appearances, no runs allowed. Yimi Garcia, 3 games, no runs allowed. And Yimi Garcia came into the World Series struggling, so he's been good. Ryan Presley, 2 appearances, no runs allowed. Luke Jackson, after giving it up in the NLCS, looking like you couldn't trust him anymore, 3 games, 3 appearances in the World Series, has not allowed a run. You can trust Luke Jackson again. Like I said, Will Smith and Jesse Chavez, they came into this World Series having not allowed a run, and they have continued that run here in the World Series. Will Smith, 3 appearances, no runs allowed. Chavez, 2 games, no. I can't remember the last time you had this many pitchers that had not allowed a run with this much exposure in the postseason. Usually you see somebody, the second time, the third time, the 4th time with Maton, and you're able to start picking them up and you can get to them. But these pitchers, the bullpens have been great, and this does not include, Stanek has been good, Matzik has been good, Graveman has been good. These are just the pitchers that have not allowed a run in the World Series with multiple appearances. So you've got really good stuff coming out of that bullpen from both sides. The bullpens, there's really no advantage one way or another. Both teams, that bullpen is a strength. And you're seeing that with these guys leading the way. And then again, Houston, you got Stanek. Atlanta, you got Matzik. Houston, you also trust Kendall Graveman. Atlanta, I know Minter gave up some runs, but I think you trust Minter if you have to do a lefty-lefty matchup. If you need Minter to go out there against, Brantley, Correa, and Alvarez, you trust Minter in a spot like that. I don't think you trust Minter. I don't think you trust A.J. Minter over 2 innings anymore, but I think in those doses, short doses, I think you trust him. Even in the last game, when they got to him and he walked the bases loaded. Well, they intentionally walked the bases loaded, and then he walked Maldonado to walk in a run. The inning before, they brought him in to get Brantley out. He struck Brantley out. Brantley's been one of the hottest hitters, so I think you still trust Minter, but in doses. And speaking of the hot bats, we got to touch on this. We're at the point now where we got 5 games. We know who's hitting the ball. We know who isn't hitting the ball. And on each side, there's really 3 guys that have been tough to get out. The tough outs, sort of the bats that need to be involved, need to have a play in this game, need to make their impact felt. Yuli, 333. Kyle Tucker's hitting 333. Remember, Kyle Tucker came into the World Series leading all of baseball with RBI. Michael Brantley's hitting 300. Austin Riley's been a beast, 381. Travis d'Arnaud is back after struggling whether it was his thumb, whatever it was. Travis d'Arnaud's back with that 350 and 2 home runs. Soler, 294 and 2 home runs. We're not even talking about Correa. Correa's been good. Or Freeman. Freeman's been good. These are the hottest bats, though, on both sides. And Steve, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. Your money is on Atlanta and BC Nation. Let's have a like fest and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, show the love and keep the conversation going. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. You took the words right out of my mouth. If you haven't hit the like yet, please do that. If you appreciate the content, if you appreciate what we're trying to do, if you like the 11 o'clock stream, hit that like. We keep doing it. It keeps it going as long as we keep getting likes and everything is good with you guys if you're enjoying it. So hit that like to show your appreciation. And definitely, if you haven't subscribed to Ballcap Nation yet, if you have not joined Ballcap Nation, subscribe if you're new. If baseball's your thing, that's what this channel is all about. Maybe one day we'll talk about the other sports, but right now it is 100% baseball. So definitely subscribe. Stay close to the channel. And I'll tell you guys tonight, there is a very good chance that I will be live tonight at the conclusion of Game 6. If the Braves win the World Series, 1,000% I will be live. If we have a Game 7 forced, if Astros win, there's a good chance I'll be live to do the Game 7 preview. So keep an eye out. Make sure to hit those alerts. Stay close because we might be live late tonight. Sal Chavez, hi, welcome. What's up? Good to see you here. Thank you for making your presence in the chat. AC Gonzalez, is it weird that through 5 games there isn't a consensus MVP for either team? Each team has different guys stepping up in each win. That's a good point, Gonzalez. I got to say this. With that kind of a situation, it'll come down to the final game. Who steps up in the final game? You know, Ozzy Albies could find his way into the World Series MVP conversation if he goes 4 for 4 tonight. You know, it'll come down to the final game. Because you're right. You could make a case. It's funny. Yordan Alvarez was the hottest hitter in baseball coming into this thing. He has 1 hit in the World Series. But you could easily see if Altuve's got the only 2 home runs for the Astros. So you could see if Altuve hits a homer, gets his 3rd homer, and the Astros go on to win. You could see Freddie Freeman if he gets a couple hits. You've got for the Braves, Soler has a couple home runs. You've got Riley, does not have a homer, but we just showed you how well he's hitting. d'Arnaud, if he hits a home run. So you could see that MVP conversation sort of ramp up with tonight's game with some of the performances. And, listen, if Max Fried pitches well, it'd be amazing to give Max Fried the MVP after his game 2. But if he goes out, pitches 7 shutout innings tonight, Max could win it. Dave, is there a stream tomorrow if Atlanta wins tonight? Yeah, no doubt about it. There will be a stream. So if Atlanta wins tonight, we'll be streaming tonight when the Braves win the World Series. We'll do our own, Braves World Series parade tonight. And there will still be a stream tomorrow. Hong Lee, you have the Braves in 6. Steve, will you read us a bedtime story? Potentially. Maybe. If you guys are good. If there's enough likes. Hayden, I don't want to chalk this because if we chalk, I know the name Chalk November is going to go around ATL. You talking about Chalkvember? Jockvember? Let's see. Are you talking about Jock Peterson? Sal, Astros in 7. So Sal's got Astros tonight. We will put the whiteboard up, and I'll get your picks here. We'll do that in a minute. James, Braves bullpen gets the MVP. Cut the trophy up. LOL. Listen, if Maton, hey, what did we talk about with Phil Maton? 4 games, a 0.00 ERA. If he pitches tonight in a big moment, and he pitches in Game 7, if he has 6 games and a 0 ERA, I don't know if a reliever, at least a reliever not clocking saves, has ever won the World Series MVP. But Phil Maton will have the biggest argument for that. Oh, I got you. I understand. I see what you do. I see what you're talking about there, Hayden. Chokevember, we'll see. I don't think so. Even if Houston comes back and wins, I do not think it would be looked at as a choke. Maybe in Atlanta it would be looked at as a choke, but nobody would be surprised if Houston comes back and wins this thing. Nobody, right? The surprise factor is non-existent if Houston comes back and wins the World Series. It's just not going to happen. Let's get into the conversation, William. I don't know if you're still here, but he mentioned it a few minutes ago. We talked about it in great length yesterday. Goyo, momentum has shifted. Astros taking 7. We will see Goyo. Listen, again, no one's surprised if Houston wins this thing. Let's dive into this. William brought it up a minute ago with Ozzie Albies. What do we do with Ozzie Albies? He's hitting 167 in the World Series. In the postseason, his slash line, it's all 2s. That's unacceptable. 233, 292, and 283 in the postseason. Ozzie Albies, what do you do? Houston fans, I know what you want to do. You want to leave him at third. You want him to lead off. But what do you do with him if you're Atlanta? And Braves fans, where do you put him? Can you leave him at 3? I mean, Snit is a loyal guy, but to leave him at 3, just look at what Houston did. Look at what Dusty did, moving Bregman out of that 3 spot. The Dodgers, Dave Roberts was foolish not adjusting his lineup, moving the Turners around. It killed him. Justin Turner could not get a hit. Trey Turner could not get a hit. He left the heart of that lineup in a bad spot. What do you do with Ozzie Albies? James wants Ozzie at the 9 spot. Hung Lee is the same momentum. Braves stopped after game 2. Braves will step up and win game 6. With this Ozzie thing, oof. Steve telling you 9-hole. Turn the tables. You could put him at 9. The Braves are in a weird spot. Snit's in a weird spot. Do you move Ozzie out of that number 3 spot? I think you have to. I think you sit him down and you say, this is what's best for the team. We're going to move you to 7. Look what Houston did. It's not a demotion. We need to shake things up. Once you're down in a spot where you could do some damage. Even if he's down at 7, you could have Darno hitting in front of him, and Darno's been crushing the ball. You need to do something better with Ozzie. Ozzie is hitting in front of Austin Riley, and Austin Riley is one of the best hitters for the Braves right now. So Ozzie's going to get more pitches to hit, and he's not doing anything with it. With that 167, William, you like Soler, Freeman, Eddie, Riley, Duvall, Ozzie, Jock, Travis, and Swanson. Here's the thing. With the righty on the mound tonight, I think we can all agree that it's going to be Rosario. He's been hitting Rosario leadoff against right-handed pitching. I still think, and I don't have the slide anymore, I don't have the graphic anymore, I still think it makes sense to lead off Jock Peterson. I really liked what Jock Peterson did in the leadoff spot during the regular season. He did it a ton with the Cubs. He hasn't done it. I think he might have done it once or twice with Atlanta. I don't remember the situation where, let's see here. I want to try to find that Jock slide because we had the numbers on Jock in his leadoff. I'm looking here. There it is. Let's get the leadoff Jock thing in here because listen, I'm telling you guys, there it is. Jock Peterson in the leadoff spot 61 times in 2021, a 261 batting average, a 785 OPS. You got Luis Garcia struggles against left-handed batters. I want as many opportunities for Jock to face Luis Garcia as possible. If you put Jock at that 8 spot, Jock could only see Garcia once. I want Jock to face Garcia twice at least. And if you put him in that leadoff spot, it works. Plus, he's done his batting average on the year was like 230 something. In that leadoff spot, 261. The same juices that get going when he's pinch hitting, he has when he's in that number 1 spot in the lineup. He's not going to do it. It is going to be Eddie Rosario. I know that. But I would just love Jock Peterson to lead off. Plus, my other argument to that is I want Eddie Rosario to, every single time Eddie Rosario comes to bat, I want somebody to have been hitting in front of him to protect that hitter and to give Rosario a chance to bat with somebody on base. So there's my reasons. I think Jock's juices get flowing like he's pinch hitting. He's going to start this game because there's the DH. So the only chance to give Jock, put him in that mentality of I'm pinch hitting, is leading off. So I'd love to see that. I want Rosario to have somebody batting in front of him to give that guy protection and to have a chance for Rosario every single time he comes up to have somebody on base. So that is my thinking. When I was thinking about the lineup, guys, my feeling for the lineup, again, understanding that they're just going to bury Jock at the bottom of the lineup, which I think is a mistake. Rosario's going to lead off. Freeman, I want Riley hitting third. I want Riley with that bat. Riley with his 381 World Series batting average. I want him batting third. I want Soler fourth. I want d'Arnaud fifth. I want Ozzie 6, Duvall 7, Peterson 8, Swanson 9. Basically, we get into that righty-lefty thing at the 5 spot. We have 3 righties in a row. I know. I mean, talk about spitting on the Bible here. Riley, Soler, and d'Arnaud. 3 righties in a row in the middle of the lineup. Oh, my God. But those are the 3 hottest bats in the lineup. Riley, d'Arnaud, and Soler. I want those 3 packaged together because I want to get a rally going. I want something happening. I want to see some action. Rosario, Freeman, if they can get on, then you get into the best hitters of this World Series. Put them in a position to win. I move Ozzie to 6. I'm building the lineup almost for outs. You got to build the lineup and take into account outs. And if you have Ozzie at that 6th spot, you get a run going. If you see 5 batters in the first inning, you're going to have a run in at that point. Hopefully, maybe just 1 out. Ozzie's the 2nd out. Duvall can come up in a clutch spot. Let me get back to you guys in the chat. Who would bat behind Jock if he leads off? Freeman. I think you go, if you had Jock leading off, you basically go Jock, Freeman, Rosario, Riley, Soler, Ozzie, d'Arnaud, Duvall. I think you kind of roll like that. I think you would have, you put Jock up there and just stack the lefties. Stack the lefties against Garcia. Garcia against left-handed bats. It's in the Jock slide. Garcia against left-handed hitters are hitting 279 with an 814 OPS. Stack them. If you can jump on them, Garcia's going to be out. And those lefty bats, if you have Peterson at the bottom, it's 1 less lefty bat. Let's see. Good call. Let's get the whiteboard up. It's November 2nd, but it's still Jocktober. It's Jockvember. That's what you need, Amigo Ward. It's Jockvember. Let's see. Put him at leadoff. Jockvember. Let's see here. Let me get the whiteboard up, guys. We can talk about the lineup with the whiteboard. You guys can see it better. There we go. So here's the lineup, and I still have the stuff from yesterday. I go Rosario, Freeman, Riley, Soler, d'Arnaud, Ozzie, Duvall, Peterson, and Swanson. If we have a situation where if Snit went crazy and put Jock in that leadoff spot, Jock goes to 1, and Rosario goes to 3, and then you basically just slide everybody down. That's what I would do. I would go Jock, 1, give him that chance. 3 left-handed hitters to start the game. Exactly. And if they're not going to do it, but again, if you went Jock, Freeman, Rosario, Riley, Soler, who am I forgetting? 1, 2, 3. Ozzie's the other lefty. Ozzie's going to be down. You go Jock, Rosario, Jock, Freeman, Rosario. Let's do this. Jock. Oh, come on now. 1. Jock. 2. Freddie. 3. See, this just works. 3. Eddie. It works. They're not going to do it, but it works. Somebody gets Snit on the line. Anybody got a direct communication to him? 4, Riley. 5, Soler. 6, you get an opportunity for Ozzie. Then you go 7, d'Arnaud. 8, Duvall. 9, Swanson. I like it. Obviously, I like it. I'm chatting it up. Let's see here. Oh, boy. Here we go. Okay. James D, you might see Austin win MVP if his. We talked about that earlier. You could see there's a lot of opportunities for guys to step up in the final game, whether it ends tonight or whether it ends tomorrow. Whenever it ends, nobody has established himself. It was brought up earlier. Nobody has really established himself as the runaway MVP, right? ALCS, NLCS, they were runaways. Rosario and Alvarez. Has not happened in this one. So you get a spot where it's going to be whoever steps up in the clinching game, in my opinion. Hey guys, hit that like if you haven't hit that like yet. Let's get this thing to 20. Can we get up to 20? I think we're at 12 right now. It's all right. A lot of times I got to keep bringing it up sometimes. But can we get up to 20 likes? Get this thing to a nice benchmark number. I like the benchmark numbers. Let's see. We're going to do something real quick. So hit that like if you haven't yet. All right. Steve, you've got Jock, Freddie, Riley, Soler, Duvall, Rosario. So you have Rosario down at 6. I think they would have him up higher than that. I think they would. Let's see here. All right, I'm trying to move something around here on my computer, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your patience as we dig into the lineup. I want as many if I'm Atlanta, I want as many lefty bats as possible. All right. Hong Lee, you like the idea of where Eddie bats in front of Riley? Definitely. Give Riley an opportunity to have 2 on in that spot. Let's see. All right, and again, remember, hit that like, guys. Hit that like. Rybra, I don't think anything changed for the Astros. They battled good, but that was against not so good Braves pitching. Atlanta wins in Game 6. We're gonna have it in a fascinating discussion when we see what happens. Rosario, switch Duvall and Rosario, then tons of spammers. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that with that web whatever thing, and I do think I blocked it. Let me know if Steve, you're my one moderator in here. Let me know if you're having any trouble with that. But I do think that we should have taken care of that. You have the ability to block and put in timeout. Bobby, the pitcher does not exist in tonight's lineup. We have no pitchers tonight. We are in the AL, so we have the DH, which, in my opinion, is good for the Braves. It gets that extra bat. You don't have one situation, one to choose from. Who's winning tonight, everybody? Let me get this up so we can dive back in. But who wins tonight? Who wins Game 6? Give me your pick. I'm going to put it on the board. We had a lot of picks yesterday. Give me your pick again. Who is winning Game 6? I can tell you I've got Atlanta. I am sticking with my pick. Give me your pick, guys. Hit me up with it. Bring it in the chat. There's a delay. Why did I move Ozzie down? I don't trust him. The sideline is he's batting. His batting average has been a problem. He's hitting under 200 in the World Series. His slash line is all 2s. In the postseason, it's just not good. Hayden, Atlanta. Macho, you have Houston. Let's see. Steve, you have Atlanta. Atlanta. Sideline. Daniel, Atlanta. Remember, hit that like. Give me your pick and hit that like if you haven't yet. Atlanta. Dave, Atlanta. I think it's going to be Atlanta. Amigo Freed shakes off the funk and tosses a gem. All right. Right now, it is mostly Atlanta. We have 2 picks for Houston. I know we have a few Astros fans, so pipe up in the chat. Let's get some more Houston love if you want Houston to win this one. I also know people hop in and out all stream long, so it's all good. I do think this is Atlanta. I think I think Snit has to make a move with the lineup, just like Dusty did, and give opportunities for Austin Riley and Travis d'Arnaud to get it done. You have a guy hitting 167, whatever it was, in Ozzie Albies at that number 3 spot. It's a problem. I think we've seen it a couple of times where you get a spot where Riley gets a hit, Soler gets a hit, but not enough was done ahead of him. Let's see. Dave has Atlanta. Bobby has Atlanta. Turner, you have Atlanta. Soy D. Cuba, Houston. That is 3 for Houston. Only 3 for Houston. John Simmons coming in with Atlanta. Hope you guys are enjoying the chat, enjoying hanging out here in the middle of the day. If this thing ends tonight, we'll be live tonight to talk about Game 6 if Houston wins. If Houston wins, I think I'm going to be live anyway, diving right into a Game 7 preview. And no matter what, we'll be live tomorrow, middle of the day, same time. Well, actually, tomorrow we will do 11. Today we had to go at 10. Tomorrow we will go at 11, the normal time. AC Gonzalez, Ozzie has 2 RBI in the entire postseason batting third. It's terrible. It's terrible. Why not be the one? Braves get it done tonight. The Sideline, have you watched the Dusty Baker documentary? I have not. Brandon, Battle Atlanta. I have not seen that. Let me make sure. Steve, are we good on the spammers? Actually, have not had that happen in a while. Everybody, hit the like for Steve. Steve fighting off the spammers. We had someone trying to come in and give us some garbage. So hit that like for Steve, working hard, keeping the spammers out of the chat. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Sitting at 17 likes. Can we get to 20? We need 3 more likes to get to 20. Who can get us there? So do you the Astros will play their best baseball game of the season. They're going to need to. Again, we talked about it earlier. I think Atlanta needs to approach this game, Game 6, as Game 7. They need to take this game into account of there is no tomorrow. Houston, it was almost an advantage for them to be able to play that way in Game 5. Atlanta could not. Atlanta could not go into a spot where they wanted to go to Ian Anderson or Max Fried or anything like that. Houston did. They went to Urquidy. Urquidy was the Game 6 starter. But to keep things going, to stay alive, you saw what Houston did. Atlanta could not. I mean, Atlanta had a 5-4 lead. They could have gone. I mean, listen, if that was a winner, if that was a winner go home, you probably see Max Fried pitching in Game 5. But they needed to. Atlanta had in their back pocket, we got another game. Now they need to play like there is no tomorrow. The Sideline, you are going for the Astros. All right. Yeah, Dusty Baker, if he wins, I'm a Dusty Baker fan. I would not be upset if Dusty wins if Dusty wins the World Series. Hayden already dropped a like. I was a third like again. Thank you, Hayden. Steve, we got 43 people here talking baseball. Yeah, hit the like. Talked about the Astros the other day. If the Astros win the World Series, if they can come back, win tonight, win Game 7, no scandal, no cheating, no garbage cans, no electronic buzzers, none of that, do you move on? Do you forgive? Do you just say whatever to that 2017 team? Do you move on from booing Altuve and Correa and Bregman? I'm really fascinated to see if Houston is able to win tonight and win in Game 7. What does the baseball world, how do they feel about that team? Is it still you cheated? I hate you. You're done. I'm gonna boo you every time. I'm never gonna get over that. Or are you like, well, they won without that. I would be fascinated to see what happens with that. Daniel, back-to-back bullpen games are rough for Atlanta. Max Fried should do well tonight. Yeah, having to go back-to-back bullpen games. Daniel with the good call there. Back-to-back bullpen games. Oh my! Tucker Davidson. If Charlie Morton went last night, in Game 5, I think it's over. I don't think we have a Game 6. If Charlie Morton, you give Charlie Morton a 4-0 lead, it's over. But they didn't have Charlie Morton. He got hurt. I understand Astros fans will say, well, if we had Lance McCullers, we would have gotten one of these games. And you probably would have. Turner, I think especially with Atlanta having the DH tonight, our bats out-hit the Astros. Having that extra bat is good. Brandon, people don't like Brian Snitker. I think people do. I don't think anybody hates on Snitker. James D, absolutely not. They were there and they got no punishment. Good, yeah, that's true, James. Yeah, no, I think Brandon. I think most people are good with Snit. I don't think there's any hate on Snit. I mean, both managers are very likable, Snitker and Dusty Baker. Who do you have winning? Who is winning the game? We have 46 people about in the watching the stream, and I think we have about 20 picks. So if you have not given me your pick, give me your pick for tonight. Who wins, Braves or Astros? It is heavy towards the Braves right now. If you're an Astro fan, balance the scale. Hit it up in the chat with an Astros vote if you are a fan of the Astros and you want Houston to win tonight. Over the 20 like mark, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, I've said it before, but every like is basically just a way to support the channel. It will YouTube takes into account the like number, and if there's more likes, YouTube will promote the channel, YouTube will promote the stream. All of that will help grow the channel. So just by hitting the like, you are helping to grow what I'm trying to build and grow with Ballcap Sports. You guys are a part of Ballcap Nation just by being here, hanging out, especially if you're a subscriber. So you can help grow Ballcap Nation just by hitting that like. So I appreciate that.